Waking up this morning, we have several big developments in the breaking news we've been following since last night. Roughly 11 hours since a small plane crashed into a utility pole in Montgomery County. The two occupants are down and the plane is back on the ground. Crews finally got the plane untangled from the power lines just in the last 2 hours. And as we said a few minutes ago, the pilot and the one passenger are safe. They are being treated at the hospital with serious injuries this morning.
Quite the scene. The other big impact affecting tens of thousands of people, widespread power outages. Giving you a live look at Pepco's power outage map right now. And as you can see, there is only a small handful of outages remaining. But again, because of the uncertainty as to when power would be restored, Montgomery County Public Schools made the call late last night to close for today. Montgomery College is also closed.
We have team coverage for you this morning, starting live from the scene in Gaithersburg. That is where the plane crashed, just 4 miles short of Montgomery County Air Park. Matt, it's been a few hours since everyone was rescued. What's the scene like there now? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Well, right now you can see over my shoulder that the utility crews are working to assess the damage done to the tower and, of course, the damage done to the power lines. But this is, an evening that was certainly one where utility crews, rescue crews were all working together to not only secure this area, get the plane together, but then eventually rescue the passengers and the passenger and the pilot inside the plane. And I mean, it was a daring and harrowing rescue after 7 hours of dangling from those power lines in that tower right there from 5 o'clock last night. But let's take you to how this happened, because we want to give you a timeline of, just what this went through and then what the rescue effort looked like. Around 5:40 Sunday night, that's when we were told by rescue crews that a single engine plane crashed into a Pepco transmission power line. Now, the crash shut off power for the area, obviously, because this is one of those high transmission power lines that runs through the area. Rescue crews worked through foggy conditions to get to the plane. Now, inside the plane, still alive after the crash, were Patrick Merkel of Washington, D.C., who piloted the plane, and his passenger, we're told by police, was Jan Williams of Louisiana. Now, this was a daring rescue, like I said. It's through the fog and through the darkness, and it took 7 hours to not only get to them, but also secure the plane. They had to secure the plane while the two sat there, and then by 12:25 this morning, crews had gotten to the plane. By 12:30, both people had been rescued and taken to the nearby hospital to be treated for hypothermia and trauma injuries. And when we talked with rescue officials, they said this was the result of everyone working together.
Everybody working together in unison is what makes this successful. Both the two victims in the aircraft, as well as the team that was from the Pepco, as well as AUI, and all of the fire rescue folks here. So it goes through training, you go through the capabilities of having skills, and the means to be able to effect this rescue and get these folks off to an area hospital is what we come to work every day to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the cohesiveness of them all working together, because when you think about it, you have to shut down the power. You have to make sure the entire tower itself is not energized, because that could result in electrocution. There were so many things that had to go right to make it possible that these two people would be able to come down from that tower, from the plane that was crashed into it, and go to the hospital. Now, the plane itself came down around 3 o'clock this morning, and as a result, right now, there's still so much that has to be done. The stability of the tower has to be assessed, as well as the ability for the power lines to continue to function. And as we can see in our area right here, power has been restored, at least right here. But we'll be here throughout the morning giving the latest from the situation as they continue to go through, the efforts to make sure everything goes back to normal here in Montgomery County. But for now, in Gaithersburg, I'm Matt Gregory. Back to you.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. We'll check back in with Matt in about 30 minutes or so. Thank you, Matt.
Focusing now on the impact to traffic. And Michelle, this of course was a big problem last night, not only with all the emergency crews, but of course the people gathering there just to see what's going on. How's it looking right now at this hour?
It's still impacting traffic this morning. So a heads up, you just heard all the work that still has to be done from Matt. Well, of course, it's going to still cause a road closure. So what's shut down right now in Gaithersburg? It's Goshen Road right at the intersection of Rothbury Road. So avoid the area for now. Now I want to take you outside for a live look from Sky 9 at the scene here. And you can see lights are on. I did just speak with our crew on scene a couple minutes ago, and they said as they approached the scene, they weren't running into dark intersections with most of that power restored. Now I want to talk about Metro. So as of last night, the power outages were causing issues along the red line. We're talking between Shady Grove and Grosvenor Strathmore, and also between Glenmont and Silver Spring. So those issues were last night. We're working to learn if this will still be impacting your morning commute. Of course, we're going to let you know as soon as we learn those details. Ladies?
Michelle, thank you. Still a lot of questions this morning about what may have caused this plane crash. And one big question is if the fog had anything to do with it.
The video on the left is fog last night at the crash site. The view on the right is a live look right now at conditions from our tower cam looking out across the city. Thankfully, the fog has cleared. Meteorologist Michaela Lucero spoke with an aviation expert to bring us more context.
When flying an airplane, best case scenario is to have 10 miles of visibility. Now, I went back and looked at the observations for the Montgomery County Air Park, and here's what I found. Right around 5:30, they only had about 1.25 miles for visibility, and cloud ceiling, so where the cloud starts in the atmosphere, they were only at about 200 feet. So in conditions like this, pilots oftentimes have to rely solely on their instruments to show them where they're going. So it would make sense that with the low visibilities and the low cloud ceilings, it would have been tough for those pilots to see those power lines that they ran into. Meteorologist Michaela Lucero, WUSA 9.
We know how tough fog can be, period, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know if that's the cause, but
right. The visibility factor there.
Yeah, and I went back and checked those same observations that Michaela was referring to there. The Gaithersburg Airport is right there. It was just right near that crash site. And the visibility's just got above 1.5 miles within the last 2 hours. So it was quite a foggy evening yesterday, especially in areas away from the Beltway. Good news is we are not dealing with that this morning.